Hey kids, today we're going to do character development and how you make interesting characters in your stories. So, ways to create interesting characters. There's about 4 different ways that you can easily create interesting characters. First would be their backstory. Every character should have a backstory. Now your minor characters will have a small backstory, but your major characters should have a lot of backstory. Backstory is information about them, about their past that doesn't actually happen in the story, but is key to how they're going to make their decisions, react to things, etc. So you should know, as the author, you should know the backstory extremely well, and then bring that backstory out gradually throughout the story, because like I said, it influences the character's decisions. You don't just throw it all out at the beginning. You gradually bring it out so that we find out different things about the character's backstory. Second, you can give the character a very unique trait. The unique trait will help them stand out for the reader. You want to be careful that your characters are not stereotypical or cliche. By that I mean they're a cardboard cutout of what someone might stereotypically believe a character or a person to be, and you want your character to have more depth than that. You want them to break a stereotype and not be so by the book as far as what the character is. That way people realize they need to invest more in the character to understand them and not just take them at face value. So things that can be a unique trait would be like a gap tooth, a limp, and for those who've read To Kill a Mockingbird, a disabled arm, or something that is slightly unusual enough to stand out to the reader as a unique trait to that individual. Third, a juxtaposition. This is a juxtaposition is when two things sort of contradict each other and don't make sense together or don't necessarily always go together. And if you can give your character a trait that is a juxtaposition of who they are, it makes them more interesting. So you might have a nasty villain that loves animals, and so therefore your reader wants to know more about that juxtaposition of that character, and it makes them realize that there's more to that character than just their superficial presentation. Minor characters. You should keep your minor characters minor. Don't give them too many unique traits or make them so unusual that they end up becoming a major character or they dominate the scenes away from a major character. They only serve a minor role, and that is to advance the story in some way. So you need to keep them in that minor role. Colors. Using colors can mean quite a lot in a story. You could use the color of a character's hat, the color of a shirt, color of a house, the color of a car, and to tell the reader more about that character. So you should research what different colors mean and then use them as a tool to bring your characters out more. Don't just randomly choose colors. Base your colors on what they mean and what they say about the character. Names. Don't just randomly choose your names or name them after your best friends or name them after names that you just like. Your names of your characters should be based off their traits or something you want the reader to know about that character. You want them to be an easy name to remember, because sometimes keeping names straight can be complicated. So you don't want to have characters with the same name or similar names, because that could be confusing. The name should help the story, but oftentimes they can hinder it. So don't choose your names randomly. Put a lot of thought into the names you choose and how and determine what that says about the character. Dialogue. We find out a lot about a character based on their dialogues. So use it wisely, use it effectively, and use it to show the reader something about the character. Every person has a unique voice, and that's not necessarily the pitch of their voice, but their voices in writing is how they say things, what they do when they speak, so that their unique voice has to come out in each character in their dialogue. Too many times the dialogue for each character sounds too much like the author writing, and they need to find that unique voice for each character and bring that out in dialogue. And descriptions. Physical descriptions should only be used when they are important to what is going on in the story. Don't slow the story down for unnecessary description. Only go into great detail and description when it becomes important to the story or you need it to advance the plot. Otherwise, save it for when you do need it. That is how you can develop interesting characters for your story. Until next time.